Right, back with a more thorough review now that I've had time to wear it of Alexandria Fragrances Brasilia 13ZZ01. So this was very highly anticipated for from fans of the House of Alexandria Fragrances. This is their version of Creed Aventus 13ZZ01. This is very kind of widely regarded as the holy grail batch of Creed Aventus. It's supposed to be fresher. It's supposed to have a more prominent pineapple, you know, opening about it. So my first impressions, people have saw this. This was I found this to be fresh, very fresh, crisp, and it was not as pineapple-y as something like King Fragrances, King Fragrances Monarch, or Essential Obsessions, King of Kings. Those are very pineapple heavy in the opening. There's pineapples there. It's very much more prominent than any of the other Brasilia line, which is Alexandria's line of Aventus is called Brasilia. So this is the pineapple-iest of the Brasilia line. So this is the most prominent pineapple batch of Creed Aventus coming from Alexandria. Okay, this is by far my favorite from Alexandria, my favorite Aventus clone. Now, it's again, I've wore it several times now. I'm going to go ahead and spray it just to kind of remind myself again while I'm doing this video. Yeah, so I mean, you get this nice, slightly tarty pineapple in the opening. It's got more tartness than sweetness, but it smells really good. It's very bright. It's very crisp. And again, it's not as pineapple-y. You get some of that birch in there as well. It's very kind of balanced, but it's much brighter than something like Brasilia Prive or the original Brasilia or Brasilia Smoky, which to me Brasilia Smoky smells good, but to me it doesn't smell smoky. Prive is the birchiest or the smokiest in my opinion of the batches from Alexandria. This has the birch, but it's not overpowering. You're getting a lot of that pineapple. Okay, but again, it's not as prominent as something like King Fragrances Monarch or again Essential Obsessions King of Kings. But here's what I'll say: after wearing this for 4 or 7 times since I've had it, this, in my opinion, is the closest outside of Pineapple Vintage, because I haven't tried Pineapple Vintage, and I'll get into that in a minute. This is the closest clone of Creed Aventus 13ZZ01. Does that mean it's better than Monarch by King Fragrances? Does that mean it's better than King of Kings by Essential Obsessions? Well, I think that depends on what you want out of a fragrance. If you want a direct clone of 13ZZ01, this is the best you're going to get outside of maybe Parfums Vintage. And I'll get into that in a minute. Dua's batch of 13ZZ01 smells very bad, in my opinion. It smells like a spoiled pineapple almost, and the cedar comes off like bedding in a hamster cage. So some people compare it to a dirty hamster cage, and I get why. The far dry down in the Dua gets better, but it's not as good as this. Okay. Alexandria's other Brasilias, they're okay, but they weren't as good as this. Now, again, it depends what you're looking for. I think King Fragrances Monarch, if you're just looking for compliments and mass appeal, is going to be the best bet. Same with Essential Obsessions, King of Kings. because that's opening, that bright, juicy pineapple is very mass appealing. It's very well received. People love that. And those are the strongest in those fragrances. This is more balanced. But the pineapple does stand out. Certainly more than the other Brasilia batches. It smells really good. And this will get you compliments too. Don't kind of, get it mixed up what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is from a one-to-one standpoint, this is closer than either of those. Okay? From a purely compliment standpoint, I think you're better off with both of those. And because I think it's because that amped up pineapple is going to get you more attention. It's going to be easier to pick up. It's going to be more mass appealing. And people will love that. So the way I would rank colognes, and I will do a cologne comparison because I think I need to put them side by side. But from memory, I think this and I think Montagne's Pineapple Intense are the closest to the real Creed Aventus 13ZZ01. Again, though, it depends what you want, because I think King's Monarch and Sensual Obsession's King of Kings are probably more mass appealing. I think they're going to get you more compliments. So if that's what you're looking for, that amped up pineapple note in both of those is going to be a better choice. But if you're wanting what this was supposed to be, was a direct clone of 13ZZ01, you'd be hard to do better. This smells really good. It opens with a tart pineapple. A lot of that sweetness starts to come out. As it dries down, you get a lot of that vanilla. It smells fantastic. Okay. So now, moving on to performance. First time I wore this, when I first got it, and mind you, I got this before it was released, right? I got the old bottle. So I got this before it was even supposed to be up for sale. 10 of us did, or something like that. Hanny had offered in a Facebook group. If people were okay with the old bottle, we could go ahead and buy it now. I jumped on it for review. The first time I wore this, it was about 5 hours in, couldn't smell it anymore. Okay? And I was like, whatever. It's not great performance. It's okay. I'm not somebody who needs that 24-hour, 12-hour performance, okay? I need it to get me through whatever I'm doing. Whether that be at work, whether that be a date, going out with friends. 5 hours generally is going to be covering the majority of that. You can always reapply. So I wasn't too upset. Then I wore it a couple more times, and I was at about 7-hour mark, and I'm in the process of moving, as I stated before. I went to a like home goods store kind of place that sells stuff. It's like Are You Home or Your Home. I forget what it's called. But anyway, they sell a bunch of stuff for homeowners. So I went there. As I was checking out, the cashier had, made a comment like, "Oh, you smell good," or "You smell so good," something like that. And she was behind a glass, COVID divider thing, plexiglass, and had a mask on. And she could smell me. And this was at the 7-hour mark. So I think what was happening, because I couldn't really smell myself then. I think I was going nose blind. I think I was going anosmic to it. And I think that is an issue with a lot of Creed style fragrances, is your nose gets used to them, especially if you wear them a lot. So I wore Club de Nuit Intense Man at work today, because I was going to compare it to another fragrance that I had just reviewed. And same thing happened with that. About the 6-hour mark, I couldn't smell it anymore. But I know it was still there, because that thing's usually on me all day, pretty much, for the most part. So I think I was just going anosmic to it. People clearly could smell it. And that was the other thing. Projection on this never, even from the beginning, seemed to be crazy. But then I got to thinking, I'm like, if she could smell me through a glass divider, plexiglass divider, and had a mask on, it had to have been good. It's not like she was running behind me or anything where like wind would have been carrying it. So I don't know. And I'll just leave it at that. I will say though, I can smell it at least till the 5-hour mark. People clearly are picking it up past that. So I don't think performance or projection are an issue. But I think you do go anosmic to it. I did. But I love it. I do. Like I said, it's my favorite from the Brazilian line. I think this is definitely the best. It's a good balance of, again, tartness and sweetness. It smells like pineapple, not lemon. It doesn't smell like bergamot. It smells like actual pineapple. You get this nice kind of touch of vanilla in the dry down that you should get in Aventus, obviously, that makes this just very sexy. And you're getting some of that birch that's giving it this masculine edge. You know, the oak moss isn't overpowering. It's very well done. Everything in this is very well balanced. And what happens is, again, the pineapple is the most prominent, giving this very kind of bright and juicy, just overall vibe. It's good. It is good. That said, again, I don't really know what to think about performance because people could smell it at the 7-hour mark through a divider with a mask. And, I couldn't. But I could smell it up to that 5-hour mark, around that. But again, I think I'm just going anosmic to it. 5 or 6 hours, I could smell it. So I think it performs. I really do. I mean, it has to be. But yeah, I would recommend this for anybody looking for the closest match to Creed Aventus. If you're looking for the closest, this is it. Followed by Montaigne's Pineapple Intense. Again, and I'll touch on this now. I have never tried Parfums Vintage. I have yet to try it. Somebody asked me in another review of, I believe it was Royal Agar from Luxor, which is a latent clone, if I tried the Parfums Vintage, and I said no. And the reason is, and I want to make it a sample. I would never buy it because a 50 ml is like $89. Okay, $89 for a 50 ml. You can almost get a 4.2 ounce of the real latent for that. A 100 ml is like $169. You can absolutely get the real latent for that. So I would never buy Parfums Vintage. Now, I think it's a better argument for Creed Aventus because Creed Aventus generally is higher, obviously, than latent. The price point would still be quite a bit more. But it's still very pricey for a clone. Okay, $90 for 50 ml is a lot of money. And I don't think it's, I'll get samples just to review. So I can really speak to it more because the samples are cheap. But this smells really freaking good. For the money, I think it's going to be hard to beat. But, like I said, if you're just looking for mass appeal, you're looking for compliments, that's what you care about, I think you're better off with something like Monarch or King of Kings because that is pineapple heavy. I mean, it is mainly pineapple with some birch in it. The way the pineapple comes across, it's very mass appealing. So it all comes down to really what your preference is, what you're trying to get out of your fragrance. But Alexandria did a fantastic job with this. It's gotten a lot of wear from me already. It's definitely one of my favorites from the house, and I will continue to wear it. As I go through it, I'll probably pick up the 100 ml in the big bottle. So hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions, ask me in the comment section. But yeah, I definitely recommend it.